Hello, guys, and welcome to another ranking. And this time, we're doing Dark Tranquility. And joining me is Mazzed from Discord.com. Hi, Mazzed.
Hello, I love Dark Tranquility,
Yeah, it was. It
my
was.
favorite mellow death band.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if this was your favorite metal death band, but
Yes, I've listened to the discography religiously, and I consider myself pretty well versed in most of their stuff. So,
Poggers. I'm also a big fan. So, and I only recently, not like a couple months ago, finally listened to all their stuff. Way better than a lot of other bands in the in the metal death scene in Sweden. So that
at
that
least consistently.
yeah,
And when it comes
consistently
to
though.
yeah, when there's stuff from like the '90s to 2000s at least is very consistent compared to other
Yeah.
Sweden bands.
All right. So anyway, we're doing these in order as they were released. So first up is Skydancer, and with Skydancer, first of all, I used to not like this album. I think it might have been the production or something, but honestly, it's grown on me a lot, and this is what I have to say about some of the songs. I thought Nightfall by the Shore of Time was a very good opener. It's very shreddy too. Crimson Winds might be the best song on the album for me because of like the emotional sounding melodies. I like that song a lot. Um, a Bolt of Blazing Gold, very nice acoustic intro, has woman vocals and nice melodies. Um, in the Tears, I think it's Bavered. I apologize for my retardation going forward. The riff around like the 1 minute and 30 mark is pretty baller. Um, I put Skywards as probably my least favorite. I just wrote it as a decent song. I thought through Ebony Archways, it was very pretty track with the duet between the male and female vocalists. Um, Alone was pretty good too, and if you guys didn't know, honestly, Anders from In Flames is on this album, which I did not know for the longest time. I've known it for a while now though, but I always thought like it was Michael sounding like super like raspy or something. Like this is like Anders in his like rawest form. I've never heard him. This is how he sounds. This is how he sounded once, and he never sounded like it again. I do admit that the production is a bit rough on here, but this album is A tier for me.
I think I think it's really good. So comparatively to other albums. Of course, it's gonna get compared a lot to Lunar Strain, being a Swedish
Mm-hmm.
early '90s Swedish metal death debut. But I think it's obviously not as good as Lunar Strain, but it did even back then. I think it had its standout features because I do think it really preluded to the more gothic sound that they would inherit as they go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It already had a much more sorrowful tone to it. It had, of course, female vocals, but I do think this album has the weakest of the female vocals. I'm going to talk about them a lot as they go on.
Mm,
They're probably my least favorite out of all of them that they bring on as a guest.
that makes sense.
So I will give it that. I agree. Crimson Wind is probably the best song, and Alone is pretty fucking good too. I like the version better than the re-recorded version they did with Michael in of Chaos in the Eternal Night. So I think on a good day where I'm like really enjoying the rawness and just the melodies, it would probably be like a low S for me. But I can agree with you that it's an A tier at its worst.
Okay, I think
So I
you're
think that's where I'd put
all right.
it.
Yeah. All right. And the gallery is D tier. The melodies are there's
It's
too
too
it's
sugary.
too sugary.
Pop
Melodies
metal.
is my least favorite thing in music. So
Keep women out of metal, man.
yeah. So okay. I didn't write anything down for
Ooh.
this, so I'm gonna go out on a whim here. I might need to pull up the track list because I am a bit retarded and can't remember shit sometimes. Okay, So there is a lot to say about this one. Personally, I believe that this is their perfect album. They have never been this perfect in the rest of their career, in my humble opinion. Um, when I to be on, I'm gonna be honest, I did not like this album when I first heard it. I preferred The Mind's Eye over it, but then I listened to it again and again, especially Ed in Spring. That and Silence in the Firmament with Drew are like combating like my favorite off of this. Um, uh, Letha has like a killer intro. I love it. I wish the Mine is the Grandeur in of McColony Burning was like just one like an 8 minute song instead of like two separate songs. Because that would have been like a fantastic closer. That is of McColony Burning is amazing. Um, it took me a while to appreciate Punish My Heaven too, for some reason. But this album is just a banger front to back, and it has no duds. It's just some songs took a lot more to grow on me. Like the one broading warning has grown on me, which I used to not enjoy that much. But to me, this is their perfect album. This is my second favorite Metal Death album.
Well, it is my favorite metal death album of all time, and probably a top 10 just in general for me, albums wise. I think it's, if I could give it an 11 out of 10, I would. I think it's got everything about the genre I love. It's got the experimentation, it's got the sadness, the riffs, it's got the just killer production. Um, like I generally can't like put into words about like how much I love it. There are no
Oh,
like tracks on here. Yeah.
yeah. You said the production. Yeah. So, like Symbolic, this album, it came out the same year too. Like the production on
Yeah.
this one is like it's like timeless to me. It sounds like it could have.
Timeless, yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like it could have came out like yesterday. It's just
Literally, it's
yeah.
yeah, it's just so good, and it seems like a lot of the like new, it's incredibly iconic and just like influential. Like if you're keeping up with the new wave of old school metal death that's been releasing the last few years, like that Majesty's album that came out last
Yeah.
year,
Killer.
sounds like it ripped from like the gallery style production, which is
Yeah,
just
that makes sense.
incredible. Um, but what I love about this album is while it is full of the very quote unquote generic melodeath like stuff that goes
Tropes.
on and on with it. There is a lot of really unique riffs for the genre. I think the stuff like the dividing line, one brooding warning, like those riffs are just like they stick in my head. I love those.
Mm.
Um, the female vocalist that appears on both the title track and of Melancholy Burning is fucking phenomenal in
Yeah.
in this album, and she adds so much to it. I couldn't find her name. I remember I tried to look because I think they get like a different singer each time a female vocalist appears on their albums, but um, there's just something about like the way the songs flow, the way the track list is. Each song is incredibly memorable. It's like I don't know. And Michael's vocals are just
Yeah.
so good here, and he kind of sounded like that. He sounded like that for their EP in between Skydancer and Gallery, and then he sounded like that on the Gallery, and I don't think he ever went back to it. Well, like I love his vocals, but here he just sounded so peak, and
Yeah, I know.
it's like my favorite part of it. But I mean, of course, it's an S tier.
Yeah, so easy D tier? No, no, just kidding. This is their peak. So far they have not reached this height for like since then. Unless their new album that they're coming out with like within either this year or next year uh tops this, which I highly doubt. But this is in my opinion their peak. So next I
Yeah,
have
I agree.
next I have The Mind's Eye. And like I mentioned earlier, this used to be my favorite, but I'll get to why it kind of fell like a couple spots in my ranking. So Dream Lore, I thought was a great opener. uh, Zod Jackal Light. I think the riff is great. Hate On, it's probably my second favorite off this album. Um, Scythe, Rage, and Roses. This is a decent song, but like I start at this point, I start to feel like the riffing is getting a little generic and samey. Um, Constant, I said it was an alright track. Had pretty good riffs in the leads, but nothing else was really catching me. Disillusion, Factor Red, another good song that's actually it's another song that just sounds like it sounds similar to Scythe. And okay, I Insanity's Crescendo has got to be my personal favorite off of this, and also I caught this this song is a semitone lower than no wait is it I don't know there's a semitone difference between this song and the Bones of Baby Dolls by Acid Bath, and I thought that was pretty
That's
cool.
interesting. Yeah.
Cause like the acoustic, it reminds me so much of the Bones of Baby Dolls.
Yeah, I can
Um,
see that. Both are incredible songs, though.
yeah, I know. Still Moving Sinews, a good song, and I put the riff right before the halfway point is just pure sex. Um, Atom Heart One, the riffs sound pretty similar to this solution. Um, on Tongues is a fun song. One of the riffs remind me of a riff from a Sackler song, and the title track is a pretty cool acoustic outro. I do have this at an A tier. I do think this album kind of falls because some of the songs sound kind of samey and have some generic riffs, but otherwise I still think it's a good album.
Yeah, I think it's A tier as well. I think it's the most like if you can put it into like a good tier, it's like the most okay. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
like the first half, it starts out strong. Dreamlord Degenerate is an incredible song. Disinfector Red or whatever it's called. That one you mentioned. Those like a really good songs, and there are some songs where the riffs just hit like really hard. Um, and then there are some songs that I just kind of forget I'm listening to if I'm not like actively
Yeah.
listening. You know what I mean? Like I can't just get a melody stuck in my head in this album. At least the same way I can with their other ones, like Gallery and stuff. And that's my main gripe with it. um, Insanity's Crescendo is absolutely like one of their best songs,
Yeah.
just in general, and it's of course the best on the album because of that. It's just so good, and like because its highs are really high, I think it's like an A tier, but like a mid A tier for me, just because like its lows, it's just not something I really like. It's one of those albums where I return to like a song I really
Yeah.
like more than the entire album in one sitting.
Yeah.
So that's
So
my main issue with
yeah,
it.
the two. Go
It's like
ahead.
the most okay of '90s melodeath, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the two songs I return to the most is Hate On and Insanity's Crescendo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that one riff in the second half of Hate On is just it sounds so weird, but it's so good too.
It is, yeah. It's full of just like really good one-off riffs, but there's
Yeah.
not anything that like really gets stuck. You know what I mean?
All right. Where do you feel in terms of Skydancer? Because I personally have Skydancer above the Mind's Eye.
Absolutely, Skydancer's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, next we got Projector, and I checked last time, well, the first time, that I showed you, I'm pretty sure you thought I wasn't gonna like this one, right?
I thought you was gonna be pretty iffy on it. It's a very acquired taste of their entire discography, in my opinion,
Okay.
because it's probably their most different, in my opinion, unique wise.
All right.
And I'll talk about it more when I
Okay.
can. Yeah, that's my
All
turn.
right. So Free Card, I thought it was a pretty cool opener. This is the first use of Michael's cleans, and they're like new electronic influence. Thurin has more clean vocals. You really hear the gothic influence on this one. I think it's a good song. The chorus is catchy. Undue Control. Nice clean woman
Yep.
vocals. Epic has really good bass and clean guitars. Um, I want to be honest. I might get. I wrote down auction. It kind of sounds like a Dark Tranquility power ballad. Um,
I mean, you're not too wrong about that.
um, I thought to a bitter halt was pretty great. And the Sunfire Blanks, I put it kind of reminds me of an Insomnium track, but like
Mm-hmm.
like in a good way. Not saying Insomnium's bad. I mean like the more modern Insomnium where it's more atmospheric than like riff oriented.
Yeah.
I put Nether Novas as alright. Nothing really stand out to me. Um, Day to the End might be my least favorite because it's just Michael Sonny like kind of like seeing over an industrial like synthesizer line.
Mm-hmm.
Doberman, I thought was a good song. On Your Time, I thought was a good song too. Kind of reminds me of The Mind's Eye. I like how I will get to what I'm gonna say here. I like how they implement like their synths like well in this album, and I also like how well they construct their gothic sound into this one. But my personal opinion of what holds it back is that some of their songs are just okay. So I have it like low A tier and low A tier, high B tier is where I have it.
Damn. Okay, so this is probably where I'm gonna get a little bit controversial. So Projector is one of my favorite like underdog picks for DT. I think just this was one I re-listened to today. I re-listened to a few today to refresh my memory on them and get my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I listen Projector, I enjoy it more. Um, I think songs like Therein and Free Card are just so good, and I love Michael's cleans here. Um, they're just so like they just sound. I don't know how to put it, but like it's not like gothic or like exactly sorrowful that they were
Mm-hmm.
going for, but just the way it sounds is so like bleak. And I think that's the whole sound the album really has. Is it's just very bleak, and I love that. I think it was around this time that they started to take more inspiration from like I'm not sure how real this is. This was a few years ago when I read this, but I believe it was when they took a lot of inspiration from the Catatonia type gothic phase. This is when
Yeah,
Catatonia was
that makes
going through their
sense. Yeah.
more phase like that, and I think that's where they really drew from, and you can hear it. I don't know. I really love just like when there is the clean choruses that he sings. I love the cleans. I love some of the riffs. A lot of it sticks in my head. I do agree about its downsides. I think its downsides that it's a little bit draggy. Some of the songs seem to not really go anywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's probably my major gripe with it is that the song, some like there's some songs that are just really impactful, really good, and then some of them seem to just not really do much for the entirety of the song. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said, fucking date at the end. I
yes,
think it's a
that one's
dope
probably my
fucking
least
track.
favorite,
Yeah.
just on the track. This is where I get a little bit controversial in my take. I personally think at its worst, it's like a high A tier, and
Mm.
even like on a good day, I put it like low S tier, in my opinion. Just it's one of my favorites from them,
Okay.
but I would understand why some people might not enjoy it as much as me. So
I personally am not against at all. Like I said, I have it in at low A tier. I'm personally
yeah,
not against like even doing this.
yeah.
Um.
I think it's better than the Mind's Eye. I personally just like it better than
Okay.
Mind's Eye,
I
and
personally
just
like
in
the
terms of
Mind's
how I
Eye.
enjoy it.
I personally like the Mind's Eye more, but I'm willing to do this.
Yeah. Okay.
You would probably catch some hands if you had me try to do this. Like no.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put it up against Skydancer, but I'm personally number one fucking Projector still. I will
Yeah.
defend that album until
Oh
I die.
yeah.
So
Honestly,
I'm happy with that
yeah.
ranking.
I'm pretty happy with this too. I like if you posted this, I'd be like, you know what, fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a sucker for Michael cleans. He has some of the best cleans, I think, and I wish he used them more.
Yeah.
But
It's
another thing
just.
I want to
Oh,
add.
go ahead.
Sorry, another thing I want to add is this album was kind of well, it kind of started with the Mind's Eye, but this was kind of the start of their era where they went, we kind of like gothic music, but we're not gonna go full tilt into it. And while I'm not really gonna talk about stuff later on, but like while it becomes good, this album was kind of where they took an idea and wanted to do something with it, but didn't really know how to execute it, and it led to some questionable choices in their later discography that I guess we'll talk to then. But like
Yeah.
that album was like the seed being planted for me, and I think it shows with some of the production and the songwriting that they go for. But overall, like really good like start to that, I think.
Yeah, I really just now noticed like when you mentioned Cationa, like they were like Cationa was going like full gothic, like I don't know when this album
Mm-hmm.
was released.
The I believe Projector came out in '99, and Catatoni had released like
Two
Discouraged Ones and
yeah. Oh
Tight
yeah.
Stitches and
That makes
before that.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Um I I don't like. I'm not against Michael using cleans. I mean like sometimes his screams are like awkward sometimes because
Mm-hmm. Very
not like him himself. It's just what he's screaming over. Like
exactly.
I want to bring up like the halo effect. I think like he does cleans great there personally.
Absolutely. That's what like really wanted me to have like more cleans in the future, like Dark Tranquility is Halo effect. He does cleans really well there.
Yeah. All right. I hold your thoughts on this because
On Haven,
I completely forget what your opinions on this, but let me go first.
I'm kind of
So
opinionated on Haven, yeah.
okay, so I remember having this like near the bottom of my list. I went through it again, and yeah. So I thought "Wonders at Your Feet" was decent. It was a decent song. I put I am not built to last. I thought was an alright song. Nothing really stand outish. In Different Suns, starts out with a pretty cool bass line and cool sounding like synth line, and then the rest of the song kind of falls off after that. Feast of Burden, I thought was kind of meh. Like me personally, I feel like this is where they're trying to force down this new like synth sound that they're doing. With all like the extra production. Title track I thought was kind of meh. Um, the same symphonic type song I wasn't really a fan that much. Fabric had kind of like a Middle Eastern type intro. The rest of the song was kind of meh. Um, Ego Drama I very much enjoyed the lead work on this song. I thought it was a good song. Rundown. I'm not sure what they were doing with this weird like buzzing sound in the background. It is in the intro, it it doesn't sound. I wrote down it doesn't sound good. Overall, it's okay. Um, better than most. I put better than. I guess I was losing my mind. Better than most of the album. The little acoustic guitar in the background kind of sounds kind of funny. Emptier Still. I said I had this on my liked. Not sure why, but it does sound like. It does sound a little better than some of the rest of the songs. And I put at loss of words pretty decent. The closing thoughts I had were this is kind of where they lost like their intensity, and like I feel like they had the new synth stuff. They were just shoving it in your face. This album isn't bad. It has some redeeming qualities, but a lot of the songs don't hit for me. I had this in C tier.
Yeah, so Haven, I think everything pre 2010 is the worst. I think it's just Wonders at Your Feet is where it peaks in terms of memorability, and then I have to force myself to actively remember I'm actually listening to the rest of the album. Like you mentioned the synths. I think the synths sound cheesy as hell, and they don't even add anything
Yeah.
interesting. And then the riffs under the synths aren't even good. So it's like, and yeah, and this is where Michael takes on his new vocal style, like full tilt, the one he's gonna keep the whole time for the rest of the 2000s. And whereas he at least sounds better later on, this is where he sounds his worst in that style. I just don't like the way he sounds. Um, and it's just not great in my opinion. Like I would even put it as low as D tier.
Mm.
I can agree with C, because it does have redeeming qualities, and if you're into the style, but I think Haven is where I talk about the Insomnium effect, where Insomnium's good, but they focus on a certain sound that just kind of persists throughout their entire discography. That's
Yeah.
kind of samey and more atmospheric, and I think that's where Haven kind of started that, and they didn't even really start it well, in my opinion. Like Insomnium kind of takes what Haven planted and makes it better, whereas Haven's just kind of that foundation that's just not great. Um,
Yeah.
I would put it as low as D, but I would settle with C just because there are
Yeah.
worse albums than it,
Yeah.
and I will get to that.
Yeah.
But it's where he sounds it's their worst of the early, or it's their worst of everything pre 2010, in my opinion.
I fully agree here. Um,
And I even sometimes when I'm like looking through the discography, I have to remember it exists. If it weren't like in the front page of their Spotify, I wouldn't even know they had this album, and so I was actually like re-listening to their entire discography.
yeah, that's entirely fair. 'Cause I wish this album was good, but unfortunately it
I
was
want to
not.
like it more, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just not it.
All right. Disclaimer: the next three albums, my opinion has changed. So,
Oh my god, I hope it's for the better. I
okay,
love those three albums, man.
okay. So
So that's a
next up
spoiler.
we have Damage Done, and so there are two people who exist: people who really enjoy this album and people who think it's uninspired and boring. I enjoy this album. So so to get song titles. Final Resistance was a great opener. I'm glad they're back to like that intensity. Hours Past in Exile was a decent track. Monochromatic Stains I thought it was solid but kind of generic. Single Part of Two solid. Um, the Treason Wall was a fun has a fun folky lead line. Overall, I thought it was a great song. Formula C was another solid song. The title track it's another fun song, but and they also are start doing this in the future where they like do chugs instead of like riffs. But
Hmm.
this chugging like rhythm I thought was pretty fun. Um, the Ray of Sunshine song I don't know how, I'm not gonna even bother pronouncing the first word. Um, was a fun solid song. Everything else was good. Besides the very last track, the outro instrumental, I thought it was just okay. In my opinion, I wrote I wrote okay. So I wrote down this is the best 2000s album by them, but my opinion has changed. So that
Interesting.
is not true anymore. Um, I'm not super crazy about this album. It's not like if I see this album in like a store I'll freak out. But I think it's a good album. I have it in A tier.
Yeah, that's actually fair enough. My opinion on it has also changed. If you remember, I know you remember back like 2 years ago, when you met me, I was a big shill for Damage Done. I
Yeah.
fucking loved the Damage Done, and I still do love it. I think it's got tons of redeeming qualities where I think Michael sounds really good with his new style here. The contrast to Haven, he does more stuff with his voice. He does more growls, he does more mid stuff, and he even does some like higher, like kind of screams that sound really good. Um, the more synthy stuff is a lot more interesting this time. There are some actual melodies from the keyboards that I remember. Um, and I agree the chugging is a little, um, I guess later on kind of bad, but here I do like it. I really like the way it looks, or the way it sounds. My favorite track is probably Hours Past in Exile, or like even Trees and Wall is really good. But I don't know. I just love the way everything sounds, the way everything blends. Like the atmosphere is there
Mm-hmm.
compared to um
Haven.
other albums where they try to build
Ah.
upon atmosphere. It's there,
Yeah.
and I think for that reason I really like it. I would put it high A tier. It's one of my favorites. I don't know if it's the best of the 2000s because I do have an opinion about that. Um, but it's there. Like that. Yeah, I think it's good. I think A tier. But like, I would put it. Hmm, I think I'd put it above. I would even put it above Sky Dancer. I'm gonna be real, but that's up to you. Like on a good day, it's above Sky
Okay,
Dancer.
okay. Um,
But I don't care wherever you
I
put it because I like all those
I will
albums.
do I will do this. I will do
Okay,
this.
yeah.
All right. So I have no other thoughts about Damage Done besides it's a great album. All
Yeah.
right, character. So my opinion has changed on this. So and I will get to that. So, um, the new build, I thought it's the new build is like got to be one of their best openers of their more modern sound. It's so good.
Absolutely.
Um, through Smudge Lens, I thought it was like a little weaker new build. Still great. Love the drive and the intensity. The bass is pretty cool. From Out of Nothing, the title. um, the Endless Feed. I thought it was a groovy track. The production on this one really shines. This one also has like a video game sounding synth in the last half of the song. Um, I thought Loss of Apathy. It was super speedy, and Michael sounds fucking brutal on this track.
Oh yeah, he's so
Um,
good.
The Mind Matters, solid. One Thought is another solid song. Dry Run, solid song. It got better as it went on though.
Mhm.
MI1, okay song. Not a favorite. It's probably my least favorite off of here. Um, Senses Tide, that was a decent song. I think the last three or four tracks are, actually yeah, the last three tracks are are just okay for me. And I put down, honestly, I think I might like this more than Damage Done. I like
Ooh.
the songs hit harder. The drive is there, the focus is there, very good. I had this in high A tier. I can even possibly put it in S tier. Um,
Ooh, okay. See, I it took a while for me to get into character. It was another one of those albums where I kind of forgot about it until I was Discog running. Um, I think this has some of their best guitar work since the Gallery,
yeah,
or even since the Mind's Eye, maybe. Like I've always said that if DT were to do an album in their modern style, I would always want it to sound like projector style choruses with like character style riffing
yeah.
and kind of that production from the early 2000s, but maybe a little more crisp than muffled. Um, I agree. A lot of it's really fucking good. I don't know if I personally would put it up against Damage Done. Maybe quality wise, it's a little bit better than Damage Done, just in the way it's consistently quality, and you always
Mm-hmm.
get that a good guitar work. You always get good synths. Like everything's very well balanced between all of their stuff. Michael sounds good. They're they got the intense tracks. They got good guitar work, and they got good synths. Like everything's super balanced for this era. Like this album kind of encompasses all of those good elements. Um, you said S. You know, I would be able to agree with you. I think the only reason I would like it less than Damage Done is just because I have a bigger connection to Damage Done.
Yeah, that makes
More
sense.
nostalgia, just the way I used to really just adore the album. But if you want to put it in S, I'm down for that. That's really cool.
Okay.
It's really good. It's
Yeah.
worthy of it. It's
I
yeah.
personally have a more attachment to Skydancer, but in terms of like quality and just overall songs, I will put it over Skydancer just for this tier list.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
And plus, the gallery doesn't want to be alone right now because he's almost the
exactly.
only one.
The gallery needs its friends, and we know damn well nothing after 2010 is going up in S.
We just spoil it. Oh, shit. All right. All right. Next one we got fiction, and I think my opinion has more or less stayed the same. Um, so first off, nothing to no one, another great opener. Throughout like like those three character damage done and fiction, I think they all have good openers. The Lesser Faith. This is what I'm talking about when they have like a fun chug rhythm. The Lesser Faith has a fun chug rhythm.
Yup, absolutely.
Terminus, where death is most alive. So funny story. I'm not like crazy about this song. Like I know some other people are in my Discord server are.
Yup.
I think the synth line is pretty fun. But other than that, I think it's an alright song. It's not like a favorite off of this personally. Blind at Heart, I thought it was a decent song. Not too crazy about either. Is Cipher good song? I didn't really enjoy Inside the Particle Storm that much.
That's
Empty,
probably the weakest track, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Empty Me, I thought was a very like old school sounding track. Good riffs, reminds me of The Mind's Eye a little. Um, Misery's Crown, kind of meh. I'm not sure why I'm not sure personally why that track is as popular as it is. When you look at the amount of plays on Spotify. Um, Focus Shift, that was a good song, and the closer, the Mundane and the Magic, was a decent song. I put overall. I think this is like a worse character, but still good. I had this low A, high B tier.
Interesting. Okay, so Fiction was actually the album that like hooked me onto Dark Tranquility
Mm.
before I dived into the rest of their stuff. And I'm still a big fan of Fiction. I think Mundane and the Magic is awesome. I love this was the album where they peaked in their kind of atmospheric gothic stuff, I think. At least in the
Yeah, I
way
could
they
see
had an
that.
idea and executed it. And they executed it perfect here. Um I think it does start out really strong, and around the middle it starts to get a little bit iffy. Um I yeah. See, here's where we kind of differ. Is on a good day, I would also put Fiction in S tier, um,
Mm.
because I'm one of those people. But I think I think its quality, it has very consistent quality, even if not all of the songs are super like in your face. It's always gonna hit. I think its quality makes up for that, and just how consistent it is throughout the entire album. Like you can listen to the whole album and be like satisfied that you did. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's where it really shines is in that. And I think, I mean, I'm obviously kind of biased because I have a lot of nostalgia for it. But yeah, it's like a high A for me. I think maybe above Projector for me, or maybe a little bit under it. But
Um,
again, I
I'm
would put it in
I'm
my own personal tier list. I would probably put it in S, but I'm okay with settling for A.
I'm willing to put it. I'm willing to put it there, even though
Yeah,
I would personally do that. But I'm willing to sacrifice and put it there.
that's all right.
Because
I'm good with that. I can settle.
I do like the Mind's Eye more. Um, but personally, yeah, that this personally makes sense because while I do like the awesome tracks on the Mind's Eye more.
Yeah, I get you.
This does have like a little bit more consistency, I guess. But
I just think it's
this album,
super memorable. Like I always think of Fiction when I think of like that era of BT.
yeah. For now for me, it's character.
Well, yeah, but that's because character's kind of like a hidden gem. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I
like
know.
if you're getting someone into Dark Tranquility, I think Fiction and like the Gallery are the ones that you should be like
You
pointing
should
towards as someone who's new to listening to them.
Yeah, you should definitely recommend the gallery first, and then if you like
Oh yeah,
if they want more modern stuff, then yeah, fiction,
yeah,
fiction or damage done, it doesn't matter.
yeah. Those two, I think Fiction and Damage Done are pretty equal in terms of like consistent quality. It's just like up to which individual songs you prefer.
I like how none of the albums have R&B right now. It's literally all S, A, or C. And then yeah, I don't think it's gonna change, but we'll see. Um, so so coming into this album, We Are the Void. Um, yeah. So let's just start off with uh I'm not a fan of this at all, really. But let me just go through like the track list. I thought the opener was decent. It's one of the better songs. Dream Oblivion, The Fatalist, and In My Absence were all snoozers. The Grandest Accusation, I thought it had a decent a lead, in the middle part, nice lead melodies, but personally not enough to save the song for me. Um, at the Point of Ignition was a snoozer. At her silent language was a snoozer, but it had good lead parts though. The Archangel Isk might be the worst song on this album. The chorus or whatever. Um, the chorus or whatever has like this choir orchestra thing that just drowns out most of the mix, and plus the song is uninteresting as hell.
Yup.
The song title or the title track was pretty okay, honestly. Surface the Infinite, I thought it was okay. And then the last track, I'm not gonna even pronounce it. The last track is a snoozer. Um, I did write down that it had its moments while they're very small. They had its moments, but it's a bore to listen to. I have this either in C or D.
I think it's D. This album fucking sucks. Like, I don't even know, man. I don't really like any of them. I mean, I listened to The Fatalist earlier today, and it's all right. Like, its best song is okay at best, and that's fucking depressing. The
Yeah,
2010s, like, that was like the turning point for fucking just Melodeath and metalcore took like the hardest
I
hits
know.
around like that era. It's like God, they got hit with the fucking mid beam, and they all they can do is release mid. It's so awful.
Gothenburg got hit with the mid beam.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm gonna say D tier. I don't have much to say about it except the fact that like
This
I
album
guess
fucking sucks.
yeah, pretty much that's all I can say about it. Except like I mean I guess it'd be cool to fall asleep too. That's
Yeah,
all I can really say for it.
I'll settle for D tier. There's really not much to say about it because there's really not much going on. Really, seriously,
Literally.
go listen to it. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. There is barely anything going on besides like a couple cool lead melodies, but that is it.
I've heard I've heard like ambient albums with more interesting fucking moments than that album, man.
Yeah, I'd rather listen to freaking that one Blood Incantation album because that was.
No, Blood Incantation's just better. That's the
No,
thing.
I mean like because they have death metal, but then they also have like that their ambient album. I'd rather listen
The
to that.
ambient, yeah.
And I'm not a fan of ambient music at all. So,
Yeah, exactly.
and oh god, we're getting into the real shit. Construct. It's
The real shit.
it's an album. It's an album. I did write notes for every single song, so I'm obviously gonna go through all of them. For Broken Words, I have literally no idea what is going on in the song. It just feels like a list of ideas, like you're going to the grocery store and Michael's like, "Yeah, you should get that. Oh, no, oh, a little bit of that." Um,
It's like they had an idea for a song and just threw it into a blender and said,
yeah,
"Yeah, it's good."
pretty much. It's not you're not Opeth. You can't do that. The silence of noise, boring. Euphormity. I get the atmosphere that they're going for in this song, but it's not hitting, and the clean melodies are just okay. The silence in between, I said okay, I guess. Apathetic. Sounds like a failed attempt at doing something from character or fiction. What only you know? Boring. The end time hearts, dude. I swear to God, the end time hearts. I swear they forgot how to write riffs in this song because it's literally nothing but chugs and like power chords and and a freaking chord progression. Like this song has no riffs. It is boring as hell. State of Trust, boring. The weight. I want to be honest. Weight of the End I thought was decent. None Becoming, boring. Just everything until the album ends, boring. They're still their worst album. It's D tier.
Yeah, I mean, I said We Are the Void fucking sucks, and I think Contract is kind of like this fucking sucks part two. I kind of group them together in terms of just quality. They're kind of just bad. I don't really got anything. Everything I said about We Are the Void, I can say. apply to Construct, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's the worst album for me, so it goes in the very last
It's
place.
just yeah, it's just bad.
All right. And these next two, I think our opinions are gonna be differing. So, Adam, Atoma, I think is how you say it.
Atoma, yeah.
So this is where this is like, when you think of modern DT, you think of these two albums, or as far as I know, I personally think of like character fiction. So Encircled, I thought was okay. Main riff is cool. Title track, didn't really care that much about it. Momentum, it's okay. The atmosphere was cool though. Neutrality, it had a good pace, but that's about it. And literally all the rest of the tracks are boring for me. So I wrote down, you could argue that this is their worst too. Um, very boring, could put me to sleep. I have this in D tier or very low C tier. I did not really enjoy this album besides like a couple songs. But I realized that, yeah, you know what? I guess it wouldn't be outlandish for me to say this is like my second least favorite, because I think I can't, I don't remember if I have. No, I have We Are the Void next to Construct in my list, but yeah, that's about my thoughts.
I like Atoma better simply just because I think the ideas that We Are the Void and Contract were trying to do were just executed better. I like a lot of the electronic stuff that's introduced. Obviously, it's not, great or even really good for that matter, but it was definitely more thought out, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Like
I agree.
Contract and We Are the Void genuinely just like feel like clusterfucks of we want to do something but we don't know how to blend it, you know what I mean? Whereas like Atoma at least felt like they had a direction they were trying to go in, even if it flopped. There was at least direction. And I think Forward Momentum and the title track are probably my favorites. I think those are pretty good songs compared, for modern DT standards. So like it's all right. I would put it low C tier.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it in D tier just because
yeah. You don't want
it's kind of hard to clump it.
you don't want to
It's
compare
kind of
it
hard
to
to
We Are
clump
the
it with the
Void.
other two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, I think Haven might be better than
Haven's
Atoma.
definitely better, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. So with these boring albums, there's really not much to say because, yeah, like I said, I literally have over half the album as boring because I didn't even bother like typing anything else. Um, so we're at their most recent album. This video will be fucking outdated in like a year or two, or yeah, or even this year. Who knows? Moment. So to get into the track listing, I thought the opener Phantom Days was great or decent. Transcend. I thought it was okay. Identical to None, I thought it was pretty good. Good riffs. The Dark Unbroken, I thought it was kind of meh. And then the rest until Ego Deception, I thought the synth is cool, but nothing really else. Um, Empire's Lost to Time. I think it's the best song on the album. To be honest, I think the drive makes it. The good riffs and the chord percussions make it for me. Um, in Truth Divided, I thought it was boring, but some of the clean melodies were cool too. I have this in C tier, but I think it's better than Atoma.
I'm also I'm a Moment defender. I think it's their best out of 2010. The
Yeah,
2010s
I can
in
see that.
general.
I
I
can see
think
that.
it's actually got memorable stuff in it. I think Phantom Days is cool. I do like it, I'm trying to think. Is it a Halo Effect song or is it actually on the album? Hold on, I actually gotta look it up. I can't remember
Which
if it's
what song is it? Do you know?
in Divided Trust. No, that's definitely Halo Effect.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Hold on, I gotta remember the songs. I actually didn't even write them down. Phantom Days is awesome. I love that song. The Dark Unbroken, I do like it, but I do agree. It's kind of like you either like it or you don't. It's got some really nice moments in it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I can kind of agree with you. It's like it's just it's got a lot of issues, the same way that just the rest of the albums of this era do. But I think it also fixes a lot of those
Yeah,
issues. It's got
I feel like this is them like finally okay, we know what we want to do and we
exactly,
figured out a little bit of what we're doing, but not quite.
exactly. It feels like they at least have a direction now that they're like ready to fully commit to. And I think I think its highs give it enough to be like high C tier, better than Haven in my opinion, or maybe a low B tier at its best. But I don't think it's incredible.
Yeah, so since we have no albums in B tier, let's just yeah, do that.
There you go. Yeah,
Um
that's about where I put it.
yeah, so if someone posted this album in like a tier list, I would probably agree. If they said it was ordered, I would definitely like, like switch a couple things around, but otherwise, yeah,
Yeah,
I would definitely agree. I think their 2010 album, I don't think they're as bad as In Flames. Um,
yeah,
but they're bad as in like God, please just it's boring. Please help me.
yeah, pretty much. It's kind of
Um,
bad and like I can fall asleep to it bad. If I can fall asleep to an album, it's not great. But like to be fair, like a lot of those '90s Swedish bands, it's kind of a low bar to be better unless you're Soil Work. Soil Work is really fucking good, but
yeah, if
DT's probably second for me
if we
in
were do
terms of like just consistent.
if we were doing soil work, nothing would be below like a B. So
Exactly, Soil Work would be such a good tier list. But
yeah.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, I agree with this tier list for the most part. I think, of course, personally, I would put some of my own biases out and switch some things around. But for the most part, I think it's a good list. I agree with it. So
Yeah, I think it's a good list too. All right, this concludes the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.